Hi there! Are you thinking of moving to the exciting city of London? Do you feel like you need advice on moving to London because you have no clue which part of this huge city you should live in? And is it even affordable for you to live in this city comfortably?
Yeah, I know all these questions. We've been there as well and we know how you feel. It's a bit scary at first, but after moving to London 3 times and living in this amazing city for 4 years, we have learned a lot about house hunting and finding the ideal place for you to live. We can help you, so please stay tuned.
In this video, we're going to tell you how to make it possible to live in London, how to find a place, and more importantly, where. Our moving to London advice is based on our own experience of living in 4 places in 4 different neighborhoods in London. But first, if you're new to our channel, we are
Matt
and Monico, and after many years of living abroad in various countries, we are now living in the Netherlands with our 7-year-old son and planning to live abroad again within a couple of years. So if you are searching for more information on moving and living abroad, please subscribe to our channel.
Yes, so getting back to finding a place to live in London. The very first thing you will learn about London is that it's freaking expensive city. The rent is crazy and you need to have money to be able to have, somewhat of a choice, in London. If you are by yourself and looking for a place, it will be tricky to find something below £1,000 a month. But it is possible with lots of determination, flexibility and luck. We managed in the end and we're sure you will manage too. Like many things in life, if there is a common problem, then there is often a solution on its way. And for living in London by yourself, this is called shared living.
Yeah, shared living has been around in London for a decade. So many houses have been converted into apartments where shared living is possible and somewhat affordable. We really enjoyed staying at these residential houses where the owner had split the house into 2, creating an apartment on the top floor and one on the ground floor.
Yeah. Some places have converted all the rooms, including the living room, into separate studios. While others have a shared living area, if you're lucky. So it's up to you what you want and what fits your budget, of course. When checking places online, remember that if the ad says it has 0 bedrooms, then it is a studio. This means kitchen, dining, living space, bedroom and bathroom all in one space.
The nicer the area, the more expensive it's going to get. So if you plan to share with a friend, but you also want to keep the costs as low as possible, consider looking for a 1-bedroom apartment. In this case, you can convert the living area into a bedroom, so you've created 2 private areas with a shared bathroom and kitchen.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We stayed at many places together where the living area could have easily been converted into an extra bedroom. Such as our house in Hammersmith, near the Thames River. Our living area was just as big as our bedroom, right?
Yeah, we believe that sharing a house is an ideal way to start living in London, but also to meet people who will become friends for life. We do recommend finding somebody who is in the same phase of your life as you. So for instance, one who had just started after studies or is already further in their career. This creates more understanding.
Yeah. From our experience, it's much easier to find a place as a couple, especially if you both have a full-time salary. There is just so much more choice because you will be sharing all the space together and you are splitting the rent, of course. You can actually look for a place that is either a big studio or an apartment with a tiny bedroom, but with a nice living area and kitchen.
In our 20s, we started off with a tiny studio in Earl's Court, and thinking back, it was probably created for just one person only. And years later, we were both living in London together again, and we could actually afford a 1-bedroom apartment that had all the space we needed.
Yeah. We will tell later in this video where it is pretty doable to find a nice place. But before we start with the where, let's dive into the how. Before we moved to London the first time, we went 3 months earlier to search for a place. However, the rental agencies all said that we had to come back once we actually wanted a place. So the best thing is to start looking once you're actually in London and are looking for a place almost straight away.
Also, by actually being there in London, you can avoid online scams and paying for something you have never seen for real. Because you know how it goes. If the place is tiny, they are sure to use a wide angle lens to take the best pictures. In 1999, we had to find a place through the ads in the newspaper and announcement boards at the tube station.
Yeah.
Later on in 2009, we used platforms such as Gumtree. Today, we can find numerous housing platforms where you can find places to live.
Yeah. These platforms are a great way to find out how much you will need to actually live in London. The cost of living is one of the most important things you need to know before even moving abroad, especially when it comes to London. We were, of course, very curious what the prices are for today, for a nice place in London and what you will get. Immediately, we got this impression that on these housing platforms, you can tell that most of these places are rented out by investors who earn their living by renting out dozens of rooms. So they will always go for the highest possible price, of course.
Yes, for instance, we checked a couple of housing platforms in our beloved Earl's Court neighborhood, and we selected a maximum of £1,000 per month. And initially, we only found parking spots for rent in the results. But with some more searching on Gumtree and the platform on the market, we actually found decent places. They are shared though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you are looking for more privacy and do not want to share in Earl's Court, don't be surprised what you will get. A tiny room with everything in it. You will likely be sleeping next to your fridge or next to your kitchen sink. So even if you have more access to information nowadays, we are not suggesting that it will be easy to find a place though. You really need to check regularly and make sure you have the income to pay for your own standards of living.
Exactly. So what to do? How to get the rent down and yet live in a nice place? Well, that's easy. Avoid the city center when it comes to housing. Like many cities in the world, the more money you have, the closer you can live to the action. So we are now coming to the part where to find a nice place to stay in London.
Well, basically London City is divided into boroughs. Some are posher than others and some you really need to avoid. And some are those areas where you can feel like something good is going to happen soon, upcoming areas. But in general, not all neighborhoods have either a tube, bus or train that can take you to the city center. And that is where you need to be, of course.
It is, of course, up to you to decide how long you are willing to commute. We suggest a maximum of 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Audible and podcasts are ideal for commuting, but it is still a long way and a waste of time if you need to travel more than 1.5 hours in total every day.
Yeah. But in general, while the neighborhood can determine the rental price, the zone of the tube also has an impact. Zone 1 and 2 are basically the most expensive places to rent. Zone 1 is like the heart of the city, but there are exceptions. As you can see, there are some neighborhoods that are located in Zone 1 and 2, but are south of the Thames River, where there is a chance of finding a reasonable place to live.
When we first moved to London, we also made a big mistake to search for housing in Earl's Court, located in Zone 1. Not only did we end up in a studio as big as our kitchen we have right now, but the area is extremely busy. We could hear cars passing by 24/7.
Yeah. If you want some quality and space, don't focus on Zone 1 and 2. Yes, of course, you want to be nearby the action, but if you find a place near the tube, or what we really love, a bus, that takes you straight to the city, then that's just as great, right?
The second, third and fourth time we had to search for a new place, we realized that we started searching in zones further away from the city center.
Yeah.
Fulham and Hammersmith is in Zone 2 towards Zone 3, and the last place we rented was in Twickenham, just outside Richmond, which is in Zone 4.
As Dutch as we could be, we had 2 bicycles, making it ideal to cycle from Twickenham to beautiful Richmond to catch the tube. We even had found a great route through Richmond Park, Barnes, Hammersmith and all the way to Hyde Park, right? So often on days off, we could skip the tube entirely.
So the solution is to search further away from the city center. It might not sound as exciting at first, but believe me, the best places in London are the neighborhoods surrounding the city. You'll be able to walk through parks, not be surrounded by the crowds, and there are so many local shops creating a uniqueness about the area.
Yeah.
These areas usually have more affordable places to stay.
Yeah. Also, you can consider looking at areas that are located just in Zone 3. So just at the border of Zone 2, so to speak. We lived in Hammersmith, which is Zone 2 towards Zone 3. And it was a fantastic location. We loved jumping on the bus straight to the city center or even hopping on our bicycle. But there are several tube lines that will take you anywhere you need to go.
As mentioned earlier, we really like the two-story houses that are converted into two separate apartments. You can find more affordable ones in Zone 3 and higher, or areas that are not located directly along the Piccadilly line.
During your house hunting adventure, make sure you check the area first and choose one that is a walkable area, has a street with local shops, an area that has a residential feel to it. If you do, you will appreciate London a lot more.
Definitely. So make sure you know the neighborhoods, walk or cycle around, or just take the bus to go from one area to another. Do some research so you are also not totally shocked with the prices.
We have many friends who really hate London and always talk about their horrible time when living there. But the biggest mistake is that they chose low rent above a nice neighborhood.
Yes, dodgy neighborhoods or neighborhoods far out of London, making a quick lunch or drink not worth the travel time, will give a whole different experience if you had chosen a nice buzzing area with small shopping streets, nice pubs along the river, and so on.
Yeah. So make sure you take the time to walk around. The first impression is not necessarily the right one. We are always surprised that in London you can walk through the most gorgeous streets, and when you make a turn, you suddenly find yourself in a street that looks and feels entirely different.
What we also learned is when searching online for a place, make sure you don't take rent ads too literally. As mentioned earlier, a lot of pictures are often taken with a wide angle lens.
Yeah. Also, always don't take it too seriously if they talk about a spacious apartment. After seeing so many spacious studios and spacious apartments, we know that in London that means that you can at least place a bed or dining table in it. Yeah.
So once you start checking out the places, be aware that most places are also fully furnished.
Yeah.
But if you think the furniture is hideous or old, don't walk away just yet, but try to negotiate to replace it.
Yeah. Once we had an old couch removed, and the owner was fine about it. And in all cases, we ditched the old mattress and we bought a new one. We always had to leave the mattress behind, but it was an investment we were always happy to make when moving.
Do make sure there is a fridge and washing machine though, because you don't want to be dragging that to your next apartment.
No.
Because like most people in London, the first place you rent is probably not the last. So you'll be moving again, and believe me, you don't want to be carrying a fridge or a washing machine throughout London.
No way, no way. Okay, and one final and quick tip that helped us find the best apartment we ever had in London. Try searching for temporary rental or sub-rental. The owner of the apartment we were living in went to Mexico for almost 2 years. The rent was extremely reasonable and we had a wonderful place in an amazing neighborhood.
There is so many things you will experience when moving to London. House hunting is something you will get better at, especially once you know the city more and discover your favorite neighborhoods.
Yeah. As for us, London isn't an option to move to now. We have a child. We don't believe that we will get a better quality of life in London compared to the one we have here in Rotterdam, right?
Exactly, yeah.
But we did enjoy every minute of living in London and wouldn't have wanted to miss it out. No way. So, if London is on the list of places you wish to live, go for it.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. We hope we have given you information to take the next step closer to your move to this wonderful city. For now, if you want to keep in touch, please subscribe to our channel, press the like button if you enjoy this video, and you are always welcome to leave comments behind. Thanks for watching, and till next time, bye-bye!